few months ago, everything changed. I was training hard. I was putting in as much work as I could to become the best version of myself. And I was training 2 times per day. And I had a goal and a driven vision of becoming the best version of myself. Maybe you can relate. Maybe you're in that season of becoming the most fittest, healthiest, cuttest version of yourself. I can definitely relate. I was pushing it hard. I was training 6 days per week in the gym. And I was passionate, not only as a trainer, but as an athlete. I wanted to become even better than I was before. 2025 was a year of transformation, even though I was going through setbacks with different contracts and client retention. The powerful part of being in business is you'll always go through ups and downs, but training is something that should always be consistent as an athlete and as a trainer. I loved what I do. And for someone whose entire identity was movement, that messed me up mentally more than ever when I wasn't able to move anymore. I suddenly disappeared online for a little while, but they didn't see a journey that was happening behind closed doors. You see, I'm a personal trainer. I love the idea of movement, and I might not be the strongest. I might not be the most posturally aligned, and I might not be the best, but I believe in different ranges of training: cardiovascular, plyometric, sport-related, strength, resistance-based. And I was very passionate on going further in that discipline. And maybe you're in that same place. You're in that place of drive. You're in that place of ambition. You're hunting down the best version of you. You're correcting your form. You're in a calorie deficit, and you are working hard on a vision that only you can see. As you train and as you build, you'll start to realize the growth, the progressive growth of your training. Right. And hopefully, and this is the cool thing about training and becoming better, is you eventually start to be able to inspire and help other people. I took my job very seriously. I loved what I did, and I'll always be a trainer at heart. So it was tough when 2025 took a turn for the worse for me. An unexpected event, not something that I could plan, not something that I could predict. And honestly, something that really set back not only my business, but my self-esteem. For the first time, I had to figure out how to navigate this new realm. And as someone, as you can see here, guys, that is always pushing the envelope, always trying to work hard, always believing in other people getting better, and believing in health, sometimes the setbacks, they force you to really think about the end game, right? What you want to do in business. How long are you sustainable for? And that's what it taught me. I'm making this video for anybody that can relate. Maybe you're a trainer, maybe you're an athlete, maybe you're an avid MMA athlete, maybe you're a runner or a lifter or a jumper or a hooper, and you train because not only does it bring you peace and joy, but you believe in the work and what it does for you. I can totally relate. And that's why in this video, I wanted to talk specifically about how I'm overcoming a setback. I didn't want to make this video, but I think it's going to be of great value for someone out there. 2025, I went through my first major surgery in my entire life, and I'm grateful that it's the case. It was tough. It was in December 2025, and it's called osteochondroma removal. It's a surgery that you can't really predict. It's benign bone growth that could be correlated to the dreaded C word, which I don't even like to mention. So I had my surgery on my distal femur on my right side, which is my dominant foot. It shook every part of my ability to train and my ability to think. For the first time, I had to learn, that I was very biased, and I still am very biased with my right foot. I never realized how explosively dominant my right foot was versus my left. And just teaching myself how to trust my foot again was the most difficult thing. And maybe, man, you can relate. Maybe you're going through a surgery right now, or homegirl, that you're going through a struggle, and you get hit with this setback. It was difficult for me because prior to the surgery, I was in the best conditioned state that I've probably ever been in my entire life. And post-surgery, with the stimulants, and then with the recovery process and just the slowdown on my body, my body composition changed and everything changed. And even here, for the first time, people opening doors for me, man, like that was a whole new switch that flipped in my mind. And I never realized how ungrateful I was for having the blessing of being able to walk, run, open my own doors, run my own races, climb my own stairs and do my own things, right? And maybe you're not seeing that, and you might have it, So this was 3 days after my surgery. I immediately began testing what I was capable of doing. Going through the hospital with my crutches. I was released after about 6 days. And the hospital, the hospitality system, they have a process. They want to make sure that physio is up to date. You want to get the clearance. You want to make sure that you're fully autonomous to the point where you can kind of run on your own. If you've been through a surgery, you'll know what I'm talking about. And that process was difficult, especially going through the first time. It was super tough. My beep test score was at a 15 out of 21. My sit-up strength was, I had the second best score on a challenge at a campus that I was going to at the time. I wanted to get number 1 on that list. So just going from somebody who was so, I'm not going to say a superstar, not David Goggins, but, being able to be there, from now walking through hospital floors and navigating that space. It was a hit, man. It was a hit. It was a confidence hit. It was something that was so difficult at the time that I just isolated myself from everybody. I dropped all of my clients. Unfortunately, work opportunities also dried up as well too, because my entire business was based off my body. Right, so me not being there, me not being present in my classes, it just limited everything. So it's almost like life took a stop for a second for me, and it bothered me so much. And maybe you're in that space too right now, man, where you're going through something where you almost kind of feel like just life and maybe the greater good out there is kind of holding you back. And I want to just tell you, I've been there. The only thing we can do sometimes, man, is appreciate every part of the story, appreciate what we're going through, and work with what we got. This is my first time being in the hospital here, Mount Sinai. I want to thank the staff there. They were great. And this is just me using their floor. I started with walking, and then I progressed over to learning how to be able to, move, right, essentially, taking steps and, trusting myself again, trusting my body's ability to handle different stimulus, The first time I saw those set of stairs, man, I was actually worried because I didn't have what I always thought I had. Even here too, you can see that I'm kind of doing a little bit of a dip to kind of position myself up and hopping over the stairs. That's how little of a trust I had on my right foot, right? And it's shocking to see that's going from a guy who, I'm ambidextrous, I can finish with right and left hand. I'm squatting close to 275, almost 300 pounds, deadlifting close to 350, 375, 315. My bench is my weakest 185, it's 195, getting closer to for a single. And now, being able to barely walk, dude, it was a hit, man. Just seeing this is hard as well too, but I want to give encouragement. Like I said, this video is all about encouragement. So if you're going through surgery, if you're going through limitation, trainer to trainer, maybe soul to soul, human to human, I just want to give you encouragement on taking the steps to rebuild and not being hard on yourself in that journey. It's going to be messy, like that little white spot on my hoodie. It's going to be ugly. This is not pretty content. This is not something that's glamorous, but this is the truth. I'm a guy that doesn't have superstar genetics, and I'm aware of that. As you can see here, I'm just playing around with like my hips, man. I was super, super tight. I kind of look like a goofball here, just trying to figure out what I was doing. But trusting your body again after surgery is a very, very difficult thing. And this is the thing that people don't see, learning how to walk again, relearning balance, relearning confidence, relearning patience. The surgery forced me to slow down for the first time in my life. And I honestly think I don't need it, but I do believe that I had to go through this to become stronger. And for those of you that question what my capabilities were, this is me previously, playing another skydiving instructor, and now we're here today. That was a former clip. This is me currently today. I'm not exactly as explosive as I once was. I'm not doing up and unders. I'm not doing, explosive drives, but I'm back to doing 99-minute treadmill sessions, and I'm, on inclines. And I'm grateful to God. I'm just grateful to Jesus, the higher power of the universe, anything that you want to say, that I've been given the beauty and the gift of walking again. I want to say that in this video, that if you can walk, if you can do push-ups, pull-ups, sit-ups, L-sits, muscle ups, if you can even attempt those things, if you can do crossover setbacks, step backs, if you can hit 3-pointers, if you can move, man, if you can use your body, I want you to understand how much of a gift that is. It's such a privilege by the greater good to have autonomy, right? Things didn't, change overnight for me. It's just small little wins, a little less pain, a little bit more balance. And even now, I'm not where I exactly want to be. These are former clips. But I realized that recovery isn't just physical. It forces you to confront yourself mentally too, right? For me, I had to learn, I have to step back from my business so that I can focus on myself again and rebuild the confidence that I had as a trainer up until the surgery. A few months ago, walking hurt. Now I'm moving again. And I'm not fully back yet, but I'm closer than I was yesterday. This whole experience taught me something so valuable, man. Health is not guaranteed. Movement is not guaranteed. Time is not guaranteed. So if you're healthy right now, stop waiting to become who you know you can be. Because losing something has a way of showing you what truly mattered the entire time. It's crazy how deep that rabbit hole goes. And sometimes we forget, right, as time goes on and as we chase things that ultimately don't matter, that we forget the privileges that we've always had right in front of us. So if you guys are watching this YouTube channel and you're watching my story, and maybe you've been watching all of my videos in the past, you're watching some of my my former workout videos, me goblet squatting 100 pounds here, or I think that's 70. Maybe you saw some of my training clips, some of my basketball clips, or my more like TikTok shortcut videos that I was doing where I was doing push-up challenges. I want to really thank you for the support. I want to thank you for being here and just watching me develop myself and my story. I know I'm not the biggest guy online. I'm not the strongest guy online. I'm not the, the most fancy. I'm not doing the coolest and craziest of stunts, but this was just my journey, becoming above average to a little bit of even beyond above average. And then also coming back, facing an insane obstacle and coming back. And if I could do anything for you, man, it's to give you guys encouragement, in any season. So if you're in high school, if you're a teen, if you just went through an ACL tear or MCL tear or hip surgery or shoulder surgery, or ankle injuries, man, or maybe it's a muscle tear, I want to just give you guys the encouragement to trust the recovery process. Trust the recovery process. Believe in the passion that you've been given for whatever you want to do, right? And whatever you're trying to build. And then just go out there and just slowly bring it back. Trust, and my whole takeaway that I want to give you guys from my story is I don't take steroids, supplementations. I don't inject myself with anything. These are clips of me just being a natural athlete. I'm 100% natural. I don't take any crazy supplementations. I'm actually inconsistent with even creatine monohydrate and whey protein powder. Like, I'm inconsistent. I actually derive most of my vitamins and my nutrients from whole-based foods and a whole-based diet, right? So I work on the nutrition first and then I supplement after. So this is just a regular, I would say an ectomorph who found his way to become a little bit leaner and now who's trying to become the most crisp and conditioned version of himself. If you found a lot of value in this kind of content, I really hope that you subscribe. There's so much great content coming up. I can't wait to show you this year and my goal and my vision is not only come back to what I was doing before, but I actually surpass what I was doing before, in terms of mobility, in terms of capability, and then also in terms of physique, in terms of how I look, and of course the aesthetic side of things. And I want to give you guys encouragement on that journey too. I don't care what your race is, what background you come from. If you have this goal in yourself to get into shape and you've been feeling like you've been wanting to get into shape, and maybe you're looking for a trainer or some content to follow, I really would like for you to subscribe, comment, and subscribe down below. Share your story and watch my journey. And if there's any way that I can help you, leave it in the comments below, your questions, your queries. And if you want to get trained, if you want to work, I'm also there as well. But let's start with the truth and where we are. Let's build. The important thing I want to say here as well too, this is super important, is I want to just give a thank you to the beautiful, amazing people, the angels that were in my life. And you have them as well too, my friend. The people in my life that came in and supported the journey, and not only supported my journey, but also understood my drive and my dream. This is Thomas. The previous angel before was my mother. Without training partners, without the people in my life that encouraged me and even supported my comeback, I wouldn't be the man I am today. I'm laughing because Thomas is seeing my small numbers, even though he can do triple what I can do, because Thomas is a beast. Shout out to the Hungarian Hulk. If you want to see great content, check him out. But what I want to say is just a God bless and a thank you for such great people being in my life. You know, sometimes, guys, we all think that we can do things ourselves, but without my mother being there for me during my recovery process, I would not have been able to do it on my own. You know, and I would be selfish, and I'd be lying to the world if I said that I made a comeback myself. So I wanted to give an encouragement to not only great training partners, but just great people. You know, this is my buddy Gus, who was a huge help for me during my surgery. And I don't have a great video of him, but he's a huge hero. And then friends like Muhammad here, who are learning their journey as well, too, and were great aids in my story. So I just want to thank them. And I want to remind you guys to be grateful, too, you know, and just be thankful for the great people you have in your lives. I'm grateful for every story, and we're not done just yet. We've got some great successes and milestones ahead.